That was a pretty snazzy intro, right? But anyways, welcome to my presentation about my summer 2021 internship. My name is Sohan Patel, and I am a part of Purdue's Construction Engineering Management program. And let's get started. So, starting off with the company that I worked for Lane Construction. They're headquartered in Cheshire, Connecticut, and they're actually ranked as the number 4 highway contractor in America. They mainly do heavy civil, such as water, bridges, roads, and tunneling. Moving right along to the table of contents, starting off, I'm going to be presenting you guys with a general overview of my internship, as well as an overview of the project, the responsibilities I was given, the concepts I got to see turn into reality, as well as the lessons that I learned, and the greatest triumph that I've had. So starting right off with the general overview of my internship, due to the project's insanely broad scope, I had the ability to absorb knowledge from many different disciplines, including paving, structures, roadways, drainage, and utilities. The goals of my first internship was, with the limited time that I was given, I sought to understand as much construction terminology as I could, as well as learn the process of construction and see all the challenges that the engineers faced on the daily. Also, I sought to build meaningful connections with my coworkers and expand my network. So starting off with the overview of the project itself, the project that I worked on was the I-10 Corridor Express Lanes contract. Basically, we sought to expand roughly 2 express lanes into an 11-mile stretch, along with modify 8 bridges. This was a design-build project, and it was located in Ontario, California. The project roughly costed around 67 to $680 million. So moving right along to the responsibilities that I was given, I was obviously started off with trucking tickets because, which intern isn't, right? Then I slowly was taught takeoffs, and I did retaining wall excavation quantities. I did pavement excavation quantities. I did fencing quantities. I also did local street quantities, which included walkways, driveways, identifying curb and gutters, as well as curb ramps. Then I also helped with retaining wall forecast verifications, and I also did daily field visits with roadway. Now, one thing that I wish I knew before going into the field was not to be so scared of the field itself. Coming from a background of just vertical construction, when going into horizontal construction, it was completely different. And seeing all the heavy machines going around and actually seeing all the civilians driving on the road, it was terrifying seeing people whiz past you at 60 miles per hour. But I learned that if you follow the right safety protocols and stay with your coworker, then I would have been completely fine. So I wish I knew that before going in as a timid intern. So this is a takeoff that I did. This is an excavation takeoff, and it details what is being excavated, when it's going to be excavated, and where it's going to be excavated. So here is another takeoff that I did. As you can see, the different colors represent the different types of material, and the patterns represent a different time at which it's going to be closed to remove that material. So moving along to the responsibility I was given, this is actually one of my personal favorites because I got to see an actual concept that I designed go into a reality. So starting off, we had the Vineyard Bridge abutment pour rate calculations. So first I had to start by drafting, then I had to get the elevation and final grades of all the concrete, then I had to get the total volume of the stem wall, the shear key, the internal and exterior wing walls, the abutment seam, and the extension wall. Then I had to calculate the volumetric pour rate by getting all that volume and checking with the form liner durability. And then I had to order trucking so I could pour the concrete. So after finalizing all those measurements, I turned into my structural engineer, and sooner or later this was actually going to be poured, or is in the works of being poured. So this is actually one of those things where I got to get all my calculations together and actually see it get turned into a reality. So here you can see all the numbers that I did. Here are some of the final grade calculations, some of the elevations, as well as the pour rates and some of the gang form liner durability, as well as the form thickness and anything you'd really need to calculate for a abutment pour. So one of the lessons that I wish I knew before going into this little project is that you don't have to be so meticulous about the math. I asked the structural engineer if I needed to do an integral, and he told me to just take an average, and I was just overcomplicating a lot of the math. But in reality, you still need all that critical thinking. So moving forward, the more responsibilities I was given, I was able to deliver company trucks to the 1015 equipment yard. I was able to go to the auto shop as well, and I was also horrified driving the company truck because it's just a big asset on my end, but it's okay. I attached company branding and asset numbers to heavy equipment. I made 2D models with traffic handling plans, including all the segments and stages. And this model helped to assist and coordinate construction activities for structures, roadway, and paving. So moving forward, some more strenuous labor I did was laying out over 2,500 feet across 3 different walls for a subcontractor. I measured and marked at every 8 inches. I wrote 2 RFIs. I created survey requests. I made a few pre-activity sheets as well as scope sheet attachments, and I also updated what they called the POD, otherwise known as a daily operation schedule, for both roadway, drainage, and utilities. So moving forward to the greatest triumph that I had was obviously not crashing the company truck, because that was horrifying driving the truck. I've never driven a truck like that in my life. And going onto the site, and my coworker said, "Okay, get in the truck, you're driving." I was horrified, but I didn't crash it. So hey, that's a plus, right? But in all seriousness, I think my greatest triumph has to be learning the language. Going into the field, I had absolutely no idea what anybody was talking about. They were talking about all these different things like whalers and shear keys and wing walls, and I was so lost. And then slowly over time, I actually learned what they were talking about, and I would just be sitting at my desk and I could just overhear any conversation, immediately know what they're talking about. So I thought that was definitely the most interesting and the best thing that I learned on my internship, and that I could take it to other internships that I go to. And so to conclude my presentation, I have some more pictures. So on the left, there is a machine called the Muncher, and it is breaking down an existing retaining wall so that we can build another retaining wall as well as pave more road. In the middle, we have a water tank. It's actually the first time I visited the site. We're in the 1015 yard right now. I helped deliver that water truck. On the right, you can see a soil nail wall. As you can see, the existing retaining wall as well as the dirt has been excavated so we can pave more road as well. So on the left here, there's a sound wall that I was laying out. This sound wall should be roughly 1,200 feet, and we went and marked every 8 inches in the hot California summer. In the middle, there is some paving that needs to be done. They've set the dowel bars in place, and this should be near the limits of our project. And on the right is actually the bridge abutment that I was trying to calculate pour rates for, and this will eventually go to be poured. So yeah, that concludes my presentation. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.